to start by saying this. Yesterday, obviously, we reached a horrible milestone. A milestone that I don't think I speak for myself, that nobody wanted to talk about. Nobody is jumping for joy. Nobody's happy about this. It's horrible. And that is the milestone of 200,000 Americans that have passed away from the coronavirus. And sure, we'll talk about responsibility. We'll talk about politicians. We'll talk about lack of action, that sort of stuff. But I'm not going to talk about it right now because there are so many families that are grieving and that are struggling, many of whom have not even been able to go to their loved ones' funerals. And I could just give you one personal story. I think I did talk about this briefly on the air several months ago. Went to high school with a good friend of mine named Josh, and known him and his family for years. For 30 years, I've known him and his family. Great mother. His mother was a wonderful person. Zero underlying health condition. She was in her 60s. She did not take the virus as seriously as she should have, according to her son, who I've spoken with many times. She would go to the mall, she would go to the supermarkets in Connecticut, and she would not wear a mask unless she had to, or she was told to. And one day she came home, and she wasn't feeling well. She said she sounded and felt like the flu. She went to the hospital, she had a fever, and they told her within a few days that she was positive for the coronavirus. Within a week, she went on a ventilator. And within 2 weeks, she lost her life. Again, with no underlying health conditions. It's a family that didn't have a lot of money. I had to help them out a little bit just to bury the mother. And they're still grieving. And her son, who's I'm good friends with, was unable to even go to his own mother's funeral. To make matters even worse, as if it's not even bad enough that your mom is in pretty good health, and then 2 weeks later she's dead from the coronavirus, and you're told you can't even go to her funeral. Now he goes to the gravesite, wasn't even able to say an official goodbye to her. And I talk about this story because there are so many stories like Josh's story. There's so many stories, there's so many people out there in this country that have been affected by coronavirus in the worst possible way. I'm not talking about financially. I get it. That's also horrible. People's lives are impacted in different ways, and it doesn't just have to be with death. I get that. But there are so many people in this country that have been affected by this virus, have lost loved ones. There are families that have been broken apart, husbands and wives that have died from this virus. Families. 3 or 4 people in families that have died. I've heard some of those stories, particularly those in New Jersey and New York. It's horrible. And my heart goes out to all those people. Even those that did not take this virus seriously, even the Herman Cains of the world who did not practice social distancing, which I don't understand, which gets me very upset, that there are still people out there in our society that are not taking this virus as seriously as they should. It gets me angry. And when I hear about that mark of 200,000, it's unacceptable. We are the richest country in the world, 4% of the population. It's not acceptable. And the world is laughing at us, and it's not a good thing.
I thought you were making this political, Brian, because now you're starting to. You said, and I quote, "I'm not going to do that this time. I'm not going to make this political." And now you're about to blame Donald Trump.
Okay, so first of all, I wasn't finished. Second of all, I did not blame Donald Trump.
Well, you're about to. You haven't done it yet. I stopped you from doing it, but you're about to.
Okay, well, first of all, you're not going to stop me on the air from doing anything.
I got you.
Let's be very clear on that. You're not going to stop me from doing anything.
Was that threatening?
So this is how you want to start the show with me?
No, I'm just saying. You said you weren't going to make it political, and you're about to try to blame Donald Trump.
Okay, so
you're going to make it political.
So as part of the show,
and let's not forget that George Floyd had 3 funerals.
Okay, so as part of the show, we do discuss politics.
Of course we do.
Okay.
Absolutely,
So
I totally agree.
At some point during the show, I probably will mention Donald Trump, and I probably will put my criticism towards him. But I'm talking about the stories right now. The people that have died from this virus. It's called empathy. Okay, I care about the people that have died. I care about even those that are not practicing social distancing. I care about the people that have lost their lives. I'm telling my personal story, and I'm sorry if you can't sit there and understand that and have empathy for my friend and the people that have lost their lives. But I do.
I'm just saying I never said anything about not having empathy for your friend and his mother who lost her life. What I'm saying is you made a point to the audience and to myself that you were not going to make this political. I'm not going to do that right now, you said.
First of all.
Now you are in the process of making it political. That's all I'm saying.
What did I say that made it political so far? What did I say?
4%. We have 4% of the population. We are we are the richest country in the world. We've done a terrible job.
I said it's unacceptable.
We have 200,000 deaths, and you're going to blame Donald Trump for that.
So first of all, I didn't mention Donald Trump's name.
Well, you didn't do it yet.
So
I mentioned that you were going to make it political before you could do that. That's what I'm saying.
Now that we've wasted 5 minutes,
we've wasted no time at all.
I'll ask you again. What have I said to start the show in this last 5 or 10 minutes that was political?
I just answered.
I didn't mention Donald Trump's name.
No, I know you were going to mention Donald Trump's name.
So you assumed something. You assumed something.
You weren't going to mention Donald Trump's name.
Eventually, in this show, I will probably mention Donald Trump's name.
Not in the show. In the coming 30 seconds from when you started saying.
So now you want to say
that we have 200,000
so now
deaths.
You can predict the future.
And we have 4% of the population, but 25% of the cases, and we've done a horrible job.
Okay.
And it's unacceptable.
Right.
You were going to say that falls on Donald Trump.
So in your mind, you thought.
All I'm saying is you said you were not going to make the show political to start.
First of all,
and you are in the process of doing so.
First of all, in your mind. 30 seconds ahead, you thought I was going to bring up Donald Trump's name. So I guess that was cause for you to interrupt me and completely interrupt my monologue in talking about some very serious subjects. So thank you for that. I don't know why you did that. I'll get back to what I was saying, and I won't start over.
That's exactly right.
I won't start over, even though you interrupted me. But what I was getting to is that it's unacceptable. After telling some of these personal stories and all these people in this country that are suffering, and I feel for all of them, like I said, even those that are stupid, even those that went out there and did not practice social distancing and died because of it. I still feel sorry for your families and friends and what they are going through. But yes, what I was just about to get to was that it shouldn't be acceptable for anybody. The fact that we are the richest country in the world and we have 25% of all deaths globally, and the world is laughing at us. It's an embarrassment. We were not prepared for this virus. We just simply were not prepared for it. And it is a failing from top to bottom, in my personal opinion, of our politicians across the country. It's not just Republicans' fault. It's not just Democrats' fault. They are all responsible as far as I am concerned. Now, some people have more power than others, and some people are more influential than others. But nobody should find this acceptable. And I was having a brief discussion with one of the morons on my social media page. And this person went on my page and said that liberals and Democrats are celebrating this 200,000 death milestone. Let me tell you something, folks. Nothing gets me more angry than that. Just because people are reporting on it, just because people like myself are talking about it and how horrible this milestone is, make no mistake about it, does not mean whatsoever that anybody is celebrating all the people that have died. It is disgusting. And I understand that some people don't want to talk about the 200,000 death milestone because it might hurt them politically. But the reason why people are talking about it, it's the same reason why people talked about how many people died on 9/11, because it's a horrible milestone. It's a terrible thing. It's the same reason why people talk about 59 people that died on October 1. It's a terrible milestone, but it needs to be discussed. It needs to be talked about. Number one, it's news, and it's very horrible news, but it's news. And number two, it's a milestone that this country should have never reached. We should have never got to this number. It's terrible.